There have been a number of good books on Sir J.G. Frazer, Frazer and the Golden Bough by Angus Downey, Robert Ackerman's well-known book, J.G. Frazer, His Life and Work, and a number of others. And they've explored his intellectual and other theoretical background. I don't think any of them have actually realised how he wrote The Golden Bough, the actual practicalities, which is, to me, very revealing, and by chance I stumbled on. Frazer's much smaller books, not part of the great Golden Bough, is Psyche's Task, and this actually does illustrate a bit the problem, because if we turn over to the middle of this book, we find these footnotes. This is not at all exceptional, and indeed some of the pages of the Golden Bough have much longer footnotes. But the point I want to make here is that when he was writing a set of volumes, 12 volumes, over a period of some 20 or more years he was writing, which had hundreds of thousands of footnotes. How did he know where the footnotes should come from, and how did he organise and arrange them in the right way? The art of research, as defined in the PhD regulations, is to connect hitherto unconnected facts. Only connect, as Rosa Luxemburg and famously E.M. Forster put it. Connecting facts is what we're about. But how do we take facts out of lots of disparate places and put them together? Frazer's solution was to buy from a Cambridge retailer a receipt book. These receipt books had a front page with numbers on them, and then if you turned it over and put a bit of carbon paper, you had a second copy there. Now, the front page was perforated, and what he would do is he would index his very amazing collection. He had a huge library which nearly destroyed part of Trinity through its weight. He had a huge collection of books, but he also read many other books he didn't have. And he would transcribe notes from these books into other notebooks, and then he would go through and index them all, and just put very short indexes where, for example here, Princess coming of age of a Zulu, Serpent, I can't even read it, Zulu something or other, Disease, Zulu, South Africa, Nails of Zulu chiefs allowed to grow. Now, when he came to write his section or part of the significance of human nails in magic or whatever it was, he would, through the help of Lady Frazer, who spent her evenings tearing up these sheets into little slips and piling them into piles, so there would be a whole set of slips which were to do with human nails, and he would then immediately, very simply, write a page or two about the significance of human nails and hair and magical nails and so on. And a lot of the work had been done in the indexing stage. Without that, he couldn't possibly have done what he did, which was to make one of the great works of social anthropology. Its greatness, it's probably the most famous book in anthropology, certainly the most influential, not just within anthropology, but elsewhere. For instance, in poetry, The Wasteland by T.S. Eliot. In art criticism, René Girard's work was influenced by it. And even in filmmaking, Coppola's Apocalypse Now ends with reference to Frazer, and indeed a copy of The Golden Bough is somewhere there in the ending. So Frazer made anthropology. He certainly helped found the department at Cambridge, but he couldn't have done so without these strange little notebooks. So this says serpent skin put on Zulu at birth. So when he came to write about magical snakes or serpent skins and their connection with birth rituals, he would have this reference, and because it's got a number, 557, This would link him back to the book from which it came, so he could follow the clues back to taking him to the very detailed reference. And we have examples of his writing. For example, when they set up a lectureship, the famous Frazer lecture, in his memory, this is the draft of his reply to the address, thanking those who had inaugurated this lecture. And a lot of the writing, it's interesting to see the way he crosses out things and is unsure of what he's writing at times, but fairly self-confident, and the handwriting is interesting too. But some of it is very beautiful. He was a classical scholar. In fact, he was a lecturer in classics all the time he was at Trinity. And he wrote beautifully, very erudite, and amazingly hard-working. He worked reputedly 364 days a year. He took off Christmas Day, and he worked for 12 hours a day, helped by Lady Frazer,